His name is Bourdais, Sebastian Bourdais. Over the past 3 seasons, he has grabbed not only 2 consecutive Champ Car World Series titles, but 16 race wins and 18 Bridgestone Pole Awards. His consistency is the stuff of which motorsport dreams are made. For the season's opener at Long Beach just a month ago, the driver of the #1 McDonald's machine did it again, dominating qualifying and the race itself. Now he comes to a brand new course, one never before seen, never before challenged. His current number, 17 wins, 19 pole awards. The question at hand, can his dominance continue?
Concentrate on your mark. Go. Green.
Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. The sights, the sounds, the exhilaration of a 185-mile-an-hour festival of speed. And welcome to round 2 of the 2006 Champ Car World Series title chase, the return of big-time open-wheel racing to the streets of Texas, the Champ Car World Series Grand Prix of Houston. Tonight, pleased to bring you coverage of Bridgestone pole position qualifying for the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Great to have you with us. We're at Reliant Stadium. Beautiful new race course, big crowd on hand. It's been a perfect weekend on the racetrack so far for series title holder Sebastian Bourdais. But after first round qualifying, they ran the 1 car through post-qualifying inspection. It was too light by a couple of pounds. Now, Jan Beekes, for any other race team, any other driver, that would have been a huge disaster. What about Newman Haas and Sebastian Bourdais?
Well, you mentioned the word perfect and Sebastian Bourdais. For Sebastian Bourdais, he's been perfect. Think about the fact that Sebastian scored every championship point that was available to him in Long Beach. He was also the fastest driver in every single session that has been here this weekend. And consider the fact that, hey, what the heck, my car was a little bit heavy. I'll give that championship point over to my teammate. But I think there's going to be some nervousness. He's probably going to want to put those alternate tires on the car, roll out early, and my prediction, he wants to be out there early and be absolutely certain he gets a lap in early. Now, that's just my prediction, but the man with the man himself is Cameron Steele.
Well, after a perfect Long Beach, Sebastian Bourdais maybe thought he was going to have the perfect season. I have to ask you, with no time on the books going into the second session, it's got to be disappointing. And what happened?
Well, just a simple thing, you know, a small mistake that kind of, I think everybody gets caught every now and then, but, you know, we're just lucky it didn't happen today. We've been weighted 3 pounds underweight, so we got disqualified yesterday night, so we lost the pole, but, you know, really a part of the point we lost is really not too much damage because the fastest lap is going to be set this afternoon, so we wanted to start on front and on pole if possible, so it doesn't really change anything.
Well, a lot of talk about this Houston track, and with it being so rough, anything can possibly happen. Are you worried about that a little bit?
I think I'm more worried about it for the race. I think obviously the cars get beat pretty bad, and you know, hopefully this Magnol's car is going to hold together. It did in San Jose, but it's another piece of work around here, so we'll see where we sit.
Well, we'll see how it shakes down here in final qualifying. Right now, let's go to the 4th member of our announce team, Bill Stevens.
Thanks a lot, Cameron Steele. And shakes is the operative word. As you heard Sebastian Bourdais tell us, the track is definitely bumpy. In fact, yesterday in the first practice session, it looked like an old person trying to cross an icy street. That's how tentative the drivers were out there. But they are some of the greatest drivers in the world, so they adapt. Lap times have come down. They're getting used to the terrain out there. But something else that Sebastian Bourdais said to me this morning that I think will be in the minds of a lot of drivers, sometimes out there the car doesn't go where you want it to go. It goes where it wants to go.
Well, a man who knows how to qualify on the pole, Paul Tracy's suiting up right now for what is made out to be a very bumpy course. Paul, tell us, what is it like out there? Are you fighting the course the entire time?
Well, it's extremely bumpy, and it's hard to hang on to the steering wheel. We've gone and sprayed my gloves with like pine tar to make them sticky. So, you know, see if we can get a hold of the steering wheel better. You know, something that the baseball players use to get a hold of the bat with gloves on. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, we know you had a couple of small incidents in early qualifying and in practice. Here in the final qualifying session, are you concerned because maybe the track is maybe one line really being important to get to the front of the pack here in qualifying?
For sure, it's going to be important to qualify well. It's going to be hard to pass. So, you know, that first corner is not going to make it any easier, too. So if we can be at the front, it's going to save us a lot of heartache.
All right, Paul, we'll let you get to the car. 25 poles in his career. Paul Tracy.
Well, PT was second quick, but Bruno Junqueira wins the championship point for first round qualifying. He has at least a spot on the front row. Allmendinger, Tagliani, and Tracy's teammate Mario Dominguez, the rest of the top 5. Justin Wilson only 6th quick in front of Serbia. Rookie Will Power with Nelson Felipe. Cristiano Dabata, the 2002 series champion, was 10th fast. Catherine Legg was 11th. Charles Wolzman, Andrew Ranger, first-timer Nicky Pastorelli. He's new with the Rocket Sports 8 car. Speedy Dan Clark, who had a wild day Thursday. There's Jan Halen and Sebastian Bourdais all the way at the bottom. We'll be back to recap first round qualifying. Back at Reliant Stadium, coverage of Bridgestone pole position qualifying. It's the Champ Car World Series Grand Prix of Houston with Jan Bikas, Cyberic Benjamin, Cameron Steele, and Bill Stevens on pit road for us. Let's take a look at the track map here now. It's about a 1.7-mile circuit, Jan, and they've actually made some changes.
They have. One of the changes they made was on the approach here to turn number 2, as they've put in a little bit of a chicane here, not quite that large, and they've also made some safety changes in the wall down in the turn number 9 area. Again, both for safety and for hopefully some opportunities to pass, but definitely kind of a work in progress, 1.7 miles and super bumpy.
And that has been the challenge for all of these teams all weekend, working out a spring and shock package that will work. It's now a 1.69-mile temporary circuit here around Reliant Stadium. We're going to go 100 laps on Saturday night. And there is a new chicane, as Jan pointed out. All right, let's talk to some of the owners involved in the Champ Car World Series. First to Bill Stevens.
Down here with the estimable Derek Walker, the president of Team Australia. Interesting mix you have this year. The veteran Alex Tagliani, the youngster Will Power, and also in the Atlantics, a talented Simon Pagenaud. How is the team blending, and how is the chemistry working, Derek?
Well, actually, you missed one out. We got James Davison also
That's
in
right.
the Atlantic program. No, they're all working very well together. I think that's one of the advantages of having an open-wheel team where you have a junior series and a main series. So they all feed off each other, and they're all doing very well at the moment.
This weekend, never having been here, how helpful is having the Atlantic team out there and maybe helping you on the setup for the Champ Cars?
Well, actually, it's tended to go the other way, but occasionally, you know, as the track changes, driver to driver, they relay information, which is pretty helpful. But, you know, that's what it's all about. It's all a team, and we're all working for the same end.
Thanks a lot. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Let's go to Cameron Steele.
With Jeremy Dale, the president of Rue Sport, and they are fielding the cars of Justin Wilson and AJ Allmendinger. And it seems like you guys found some magic. Last night qualifying, you guys were P6 with Justin Wilson. He has jumped up to P2 in final practice. What did you guys find out there?
Well, that's called a new set of Bridgestones, is what it's called. The guys, quite frankly, have been struggling, and you know, we're just not getting a hold of this racetrack right now. It's a very, very challenging surface, a lot of bumps. The cars are really moving around, and if you look at Justin's onboard, that tells the story. I mean, he's really hanging on in there, and so he did a phenomenal job this morning, even with that new set of tires, to do a good lap time. But right now, it's both our guys are struggling a little bit.
Well, best of luck to you. We'll see if one of them can land on the front row here today.
Thanks, Cameron. Appreciate it.
Well, the CDW9 car from Rue Sport, Justin Wilson at the throttle, 2 victories in his 2005 season, and ran second, of course, at Long Beach out of Northampton, England. Trying to come up to speed, and he's on the Bridgestone Reds, the alternate tire shot.
And that's what you would expect. He's on a similar strategy to what we expected to see from Sebastian Bourdais, and that is get out early, get on your soft alternate tires. You could see he backed off there to be sure that he had nice, clean racetrack. And you heard Jeremy Dale almost on cue talk about what we saw, hand movement, the bumps. It just tries to whip the wheel right out of your hand on some of these big bumps. You heard Paul Tracy talk about spraying the gloves so he can hang on.
Sebastian Bourdais, meantime, trying to bounce back. Quickest in Thursday round 1 qualifying, as we documented, and then disqualified at the end of the session. The car failed post-session tech. A couple of pounds too light across the scales. He is working hard to lay down a good lap early.
Oh, you can see he wants to put that behind him. He might have been a little too hot on the entrance there, scrubbed a little bit of exit speed, but he is definitely trying to get one down early to say, remember, he has no time whatsoever. He has to get one in the books.
Now, Bourdais has been such a strong force on the first time Champ Car comes to a new circuit. In fact, he's won the last 4 inaugural races in the Champ Car World Series. Bill Stevens.
Jan Bikas, we were talking earlier today about the strategy for qualifying this afternoon, and we're seeing that they're already employing it on a couple of teams. Bourdais was just told by his team to really go for it now. There's some space in front of that car, and of course, the concern has been during qualifying this weekend, the red flags. Paul Tracy just told his team he wants to put pedal to the metal. He thinks there'll probably be 1 or 2 red flags before the session's over.
Well, Bourdais is waiting for some open racetrack to materialize, it appears, Jan. He did knock off the quickest lap of the day so far, a 59.219 second lap.
And that is exactly what they want to do. 59.2 in this heat. Remember, this is going to be much hotter and more slippery than actual race conditions, which will be at night. That is an awesome time for Sebastian Bourdais. He has 2 choices. Is he just resting the Bridgestone Reds, or is he going to hit pit road and sit and wait to see what everybody else does?
Well, based on what we've seen from him earlier this year at Long Beach, where he dominated, of course, won virtually wire to wire, that's what he did in first round qualifying.
He'll make that decision just about in this section of the racetrack as to whether he was just looking for more room to go even quicker or duck onto pit road and wait to see if anybody can challenge him. His choice, stay on the racetrack, see if there's one more in this set.
Right at the moment, there are only about 12 cars out on the racetrack here. As we watch Bourdais take it down to the chicane, Justin Wilson just jumped to the top of the board and with a 59.18 second lap. Everyone talking Thursday and earlier today on about how challenging this place is. The bumps and issues certainly, but the track's starting to get much quicker now that rubber's being laid down.
And you could see the line that Justin Wilson took there in turn number 4 is not what you would consider a typical racing line. He went around the outside of the corner. Why? To miss the bumps. And look at that bump. It's unbelievable the way it tries to wrench it out of your hands. Cameron?
Well, right now, gentlemen, I'm standing here with what's known as a Bridgestone alternate, also known as the Bridgestone Red. The reason why these tires are favorable to the drivers and teams is they're just a little bit softer for a little bit more grip, and the drivers tend to get a little bit more speed out of them. We're seeing a lot of the drivers getting their tires ready, or a lot of the teams, I should say, to put them on. AJ Allmendinger is one of those drivers right now standing by for the Reds.
His teammate Justin Wilson, meantime, trying to add to his advantage at the moment. Mario Dominguez has just gone to the top of the board, a 59.115 second lap, the quickest of the session. Dominguez, Paul Tracy's teammate, of course, in the Forsyth Index 7 car. Spirit of Mexico on the side pods of the car these next couple of weeks. Mario, the lone Mexican national in the series at the moment. And of course, after Houston, huge Hispanic population here. Next week, we go to Monterrey, Mexico to Fundadora Park. You'll see that live on Speed as well. All right, Dominguez at the top of the charts for now. Bruno Junqueira has not yet come onto the speedway for his second round qualifying effort. He is second quick. We'll be right back with more Bridgestone pole position qualifying from Houston. To Houston as Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Bridgestone pole position qualifying continues for the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. Back under green, the clock winding down, the 11 car. And as the Sonny's barbecue machine, Jan Halen on pit road, looks like he is done. Meantime, Unique Whips Wednesday at 10 Eastern, 9 Central. This week, Will & Company go old school with Atlanta Braves star Andrew Jones and his Buick. It's an all-new Unique Whips Wednesday night at 10 only on Speed. Halen got into the wall a little while ago. Coyne's team has parked that car, and Jan, he was the first of 2 drivers in trouble.
And you can see on the approach to the chicane, this is what happens if you have a little bit too much rear brake and you hit a bump just at the wrong time. Slap, slap with both the front and the rear. That definitely is going to give some suspension damage, hence they have retired. Now in turn 2, Dan Clark right there, you could see a wiggle at the apex. He may have clipped the apex wall, made it go straight into the tires.
Speedy Dan had a couple of incidents on Thursday. We showed you one earlier when he clouded the wall on turn 4. And that certainly doesn't bode well, perhaps, for his situation here. Sebastian Bourdais, what has become of the 1 car? Well, Bourdais is on pit road waiting, and they've put Bridgestone black tires, the regular Bridgestones on.
Very interesting, and typically what happens, the Newman Haas team tune all weekend on the blacks. But for more, let's go to Bill Stevens.
Yeah, there was some discussion between Sebastian Bourdais and his team about which tire to run in qualifying, and they found that the higher track temperatures this afternoon are not really agreeing with the Bridgestone alternate tires. They decided to put on a fresh set out of the box of Bridgestone blacks.
Now Bourdais heading toward the chicane. He will be very patient and make sure he's got clear racetrack in front of him as the time winds down. There's 35 minutes of running time available in second round qualifying. Paul Tracy, meantime, continuing to wait on pit road. PT in the car. Fan blowing some air on him. Now races out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Qualified 6th at Long Beach. Cameron Steele.
I'm here with Neil Mickelwright, the general manager for Paul Tracy's Team Foresight, and you guys have just dropped from first to third, but you're still waiting here on pit row. What are you guys' expectations? What are you waiting for?
Really what we're waiting for, it's all a question of timing. There's various reasons. We're waiting for a good time when there's not as many cars on the track or to get into a good gap. Obviously the surface conditions are changing, second by second. We've done a respectable time. We think it's going to have to be in the 58s in order to be on the pole. So just waiting for the right time to give it one last shot.
We see that you put on a new set of Bridgestone alternates. Can Paul move to the top of the field once again?
I'm sorry, could you say it again?
I say we saw that you just put on a new set of Bridgestone Reds or alternates. Yeah. Can Paul move to the top of the field once again?
I think it's certainly possible. I mean, we're getting down now to about 10 minutes to go. I mean, so everybody's going to be giving it everything that they've got. With the car that we have, we've made a few more adjustments back onto the red Bridgestone. So I think it's possible. We could do it. We'll try.
We'll see if it happens. Thank you, Neil.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Watching Sebastian Bourdais in the McDonald's #1. Now, he was quickest, of course, first round qualifying. Car too light by a couple of pounds. Team said, hey, that's our fault. We didn't calculate things quite well enough. Very rare error, I would say, for them.
Yeah, I think I did say in the open that he was a little overweight. Of course, that's the trouble we usually have. But for race cars, you don't want to be underweight. And it was only 3 pounds. And it was a case where they used margin, but they didn't have enough. Now, for Oriol Serbia, he was momentarily listed at the top of the charts, but there was a steward's inquiry that he may have shortcut at the chicane. So we'll have to see if that lap goes off the boards. He now drops down to 3rd on the board.
Now the Gulfstream car, the PKV 6 Serbia, heading to pit road, shutting the car down. They put him down in 3rd for the moment. Mario Dominguez at the moment is shown at the top of the board. Serbia, Tracy, Allmendinger, and Wilson. Unofficially, your top 5. Back with more from the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. Welcome back to Bridgestone pole position qualifying. The Champ Car World Series, the Grand Prix of Houston. The return of Major League Open Wheel Racing to the streets of Houston around Reliant Stadium. Clock winding down. Mario Dominguez driving the Spirit of Mexico car #7 for Jerry Forsyth's team. He's quickest, John. This would be his first career pole.
And he has a very, very quick time on the books, 58.026. And there's going to have to be a big jump by somebody else to match that.
Well, next on Speed, we'll recap NASCAR Nextel Cup qualifying from Darlington Raceway. That is following the conclusion of our coverage of Champ Car qualifying here from Houston. Sebastian Bourdais, the pole sitter at Long Beach. Quickest Thursday, disqualified. The car was too light. Trying to come back and steal at least a front row starting spot as the clock winds down.
And he's working the car as hard as he can. Again, just in case you just tuned in, on black sidewall Bridgestones. Not something you see often. Certainly the reds, as we call them, the alternates, are faster, but it does change the balance of the car. So what's better, to have faster tires or have a car that feels better? They've made the choice, a car that feels better.
Well, Bourdais should be able to get in about 3 more laps before the clock runs out and the checkered flag falls here. He's got clean racetrack in front of him. At the moment, he is just 5th quick. Dominguez, he's run his 15 laps. He is done for the day. Now, Bruno Junqueira at the moment is 2nd. He's got a lap of 58.91 seconds. Paul Tracy sits 3rd. A.J. Allmendinger has just moved to 4th in front of Bourdais. Allmendinger's lap of 58.572. Oh, lock him up, Bourdais.
Big lockup. That's going to flat spot those tires, but he has not aborted the lap. He's going to stay on it. He is pushing. That's what happens when you, I think he may have just glanced the wall. You see, that's the difference. The blacks don't have quite the same adhesion. That one's not going to work.
This is turn 4, the big sweeper around the Astrodome, heading toward turn 5. Let's get an update on the tires. Cameron Steele.
Well, I'm here with Joe Barberi, the motorsports manager for Bridgestone, and well, you guys are the geniuses here. I mean, the tires seem to be holding up very well, but this is a very tricky track. Are you guys happy with what you brought here?
Certainly so far, yes. That's the way it's proven out. Have a lot of experience with road and street courses. The Bridgestone engineers evaluated what this track would look like, so I think we've chosen a very good product.
The bumps on the track, do you think they're going to be a problem with the tires? So far, not so, but in those long runs, will they be?
We don't really believe so. It's going to be harder on the components of the car than it will be on the tires.
We're watching qualifying right now. We want to know you're the ultimate expert. Can Sebastian Bourdais do this today?
He's done it so many times, I wouldn't put it past him at all. It's going to be very exciting.
And I'll send it back to you guys.
Well, just about 1:15 to go in the session. Bourdais has rolled to pit road and shut the motor off. He's run his 15 laps. He will not get the job done today. Jan stands 5th on the board right now.
Just a very interesting choice. He has been dominant, as we've talked about, pretty much from the get-go of the open of the season. And then one little hiccup. The car is a little bit underweight. And now, all of a sudden, things seem to be coming off the tracks. Now, it doesn't mean that all is gone for Sebastian, because the car is good at night. His teammate, as we watch here now, still has an opportunity to improve.
This should be the last lap for everyone who's still on the racetrack. Watching the Gulfstream car. This is Oriol Servia heading to pit road in the 6th. Servia at the moment just 8th quick. They've been struggling to come to grips with getting those 2 cars, Catherine Lake's machine as well as Oriol Servia's. And we take a look at Will Power, the young Australian rookie on the Bridgestone Reds, the Team Australia Aussie Vineyards car. Well, he's gone off as well and has stalled the car. Just a handful of seconds to go. Checkered flag will be out momentarily. Mario Dominguez and Paul Tracy. Now Dominguez 1st, Tracy 3rd at the moment. We will be right back. Bridgestone pole position qualifying. Our coverage of Bridgestone pole position qualifying has been brought to you today by Ford, bold moves. And by Bridgestone, passion for excellence. Back in Houston, Mario Dominguez for the first time gets to wave the Bridgestone Pole Award flag. He'll start from the pole Saturday night. Down to Cameron Steele.
Well, thank you, Mario. It seems very emotional. Were those nearly tears of joy with your first ever pole?
It's the best thing. When I saw Michael Cano, my engineer, we were both almost in tears. I think we did great. We worked so hard over the weekend to get our first pole. And I had been waiting for this first pole for many years, and I never thought it was going to take this long, but I'm so happy it came. Hopefully it'll be the first one of many this year.
Thank you so much. We'll see if it can turn into a win.
Al Dominguez will share the front row with Bruno Junqueira. Paul Tracy starts 3rd. Alex Tagliani and Justin Wilson 6th and 7th, with Servia, Philippe, and Will Power. Charles Wolfsman and Dan Clark will be on the 6th row with Ranger. D'Amata really struggling on.
He is. That team is certainly having a tough time, but boy, it's going to be a barn burner the way that qualifying got shuffled.
Sebastian Bourdais will have to start from the 3rd row on Saturday night. Our coverage is live at 9 Eastern here on Speed. For Jan Beekes, Cameron Steele, and Bill Stevens, I'm Rick Benjamin. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our coverage of the Bridgestone pole position qualifying from the Houston Grand Prix, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Houston. 9 o'clock Eastern for our live coverage of Round 2 of Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford here in 2006. We will talk to you at 9 Eastern tonight on Speed.